promoter right now is still live on. He is.
From the champion.
First match.
I've always thought
This is
First
live.
match, Triple G won. They give it a draw. Second match, Triple G won. They say he lost. Don't be gutted. Homeboy got paid.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah. Look, if you fight Canelo in Las Vegas and you're in the big paydays, there's a lot of variables.
Here's a good question, Mr. Loeffler. This is from George Wren 24. Tom, do you think they should have a fourth judge and take the three closest, so cards like Adelaide Birds would be thrown out at the end of the fight? They would throw out the fourth judge and take the three that are closest.
That's the whole concept behind the three judges. If one goes sideways, the other two, are supposed to counteract that. But there's some people saying, well, it should go to five judges so that. But then, I think it really depends on not necessarily the number of judges, but the individuals. This time around, there was no, as far as the selection of judges, both sides agreed to it. I thought Benji Esteves
did a great job.
He did a good job. He let them fight. Some people said that Canelo was throwing a lot of hip shots or stuff, but he was letting him fight. He could have warned him maybe a few more times, but. There was no. He didn't insert himself into
he doesn't do that
into the fight.
Triple G dominated. Triple G dominated both fights. Take him to a network that doesn't hate him.
That seems to be a common theme.
So
I've seen a lot of comments about HBO that way.
So I have an announcement to
Yes.
make. December 15th, Madison Square Garden, Canelo Lemieux. That's a done deal.
Oh, okay.
May 5th.
Oh, Tom, sorry about that. He's got the scooter. I'll go grab him.
That's all right.
May 5th, 2015, the third fight, Triple G and Canelo.
You think they would do it that soon in May?
In May?
I don't think till next September. I
Yeah,
think both
realistically.
promotions need.
I wouldn't mind seeing it in May if it works out.
No,
I know for sure Lemieux and Canelo are going to fight. It's
They say that
But I
Canelo
think
wants to fight in
Canelo's
December.
eye has
It's
to heal
contingent on
properly.
the eye, but they're going to fight next because Golden Boy wanted Canelo to fight Lemieux now.
And this guy says Triple G on the back foot was a joy to watch. I agree with that.
Triple G has a very versatile.
You know what he did? He was fighting. He fought his amateur style.
He was on the back foot, but
that's
he
the
still-
style
he
that he
still
had
threw
when I
more
first saw him
punches.
spar.
He was on the back
Yeah.
foot, throwing more punches, landing
Yeah.
more punches, and
Yeah.
they were in the middle of the ring. The narrative about Canelo backed him up, I don't really know how people get that because he was never against the ropes. In fact, he had Canelo against the ropes. I think it was in the 10th round when he was putting on Canelo.
Tom a high
Yeah.
five. He's got to go to his birthday.
Somebody
Right,
says
birthday?
Triple G versus Saunders in December.
That's a good fight.
Saunders is a good fight.
But not in December.
I would have him fight someone.
Saunders is a good fight.
See you,
Braun-
JP.
Braun is good.
Soon. Bye, Doug.
Happy birthday, Leo.
All right. Bye, Leo.
Later, JP.
All right. Okay, high five. High five.
We still got a lot to talk about. I just don't want to cut him
all your
off.
stuff? You
Back
have all
foot
your
is
stuff?
not Mexican style. Abel failed as a trainer. Okay, there.
This is live. I don't want to cut them off.
It's a damn shame Canelo versus Triple G was not in a stadium. That's a good point. I would love if they fight a third time. I would love for them to fight in a stadium here in the U.S.
Hey, that fight yesterday
Here, there's a red ball right there.
Oh, that was his ball. Okay, I thought that was somebody's like exercise ball.
Okay, all right. Let's mute that. All right. This is the live stream on Tom Loeffler's Twitter. Him right there, the guy right there. That's obviously Golovkin's promoter, 360 Promotions. I wasn't planning on doing this. I was on, his Twitter to show his last tweet about, last night the fight, the replay, and saw that he was live.
HBO yesterday, Triple G and Canelo.
Yeah.
We had Joshua at Wembley Stadium. Joshua Povetkin. Povetkin looked great in the beginning.
Oh, he sure did.
Beginning
I
of
thought
the
he was
fight.
winning the fight.
He was winning the fight, and then
I
that was
had Povetkin up 4 rounds to 2 after 6.
But if
Me
you
too.
looked at the actual scores, they had Joshua winning. So.
Didn't I tell you?
Yeah.
I told while we were watching
Yeah,
it.
Joshua winning.
I knew that
But
Joshua
but
won.
Povetkin was winning that fight.
Hey, who won the interview though? How was?
I mean,
how-
AJ's
Is he
he's
a shredder?
like a
Wow,
No,
that
AJ
guy.
he's an actor, man.
But It's Tom Loeffler. The guy holding the camera is Dougie Fisher. He runs Ring Magazine, like, big deal. And I don't know who the older guy is, but the older guy is saying that he's got news that Canelo versus Lemieux is official, or a done, not official, but a done deal for December the 15th, because as we talked about, they want to get David Lemieux out of the way. I mean, unfortunately, not to look at it like that, but they don't see him as a big enough fight to have for May of next year. They want a Jamal Charlo, an undefeated fighter, or an Errol Spence. I'm thinking that they would offer it to Errol Spence, with the option of Jamal Charlo getting Canelo in the future, even though Jamal Charlo is the WBC interim champion and mandatory. I know it sounds a little confusing, but I got to get into it in their deeper video. But Oscar De La Hoya fancies Errol Spence heavily.
That's not an easy fight. That's a great fight. Just like the final for the cruiserweight division for World Boxing Super Series. That's going to be a great final there.
Yeah.
And we got Ryan Martin. We were up in Big Bear on Friday. Ryan Martin's fighting November 3 in Glasgow, Scotland. Against.
All right, I gotta go back and watch all this. That's other stuff he's talking about for other videos I gotta do, like the World Boxing Super Series. But right now, in the perfect world, they would want Canelo versus Lemieux December in New York. And with that, it depends on the eye, because remember, he got a cut. And, you don't want to fight too soon after a cut. Look at Francisco Vargas, scar tissue and everything. You don't want to create a bigger issue. But David Lemieux is the WBA mandatory, and Jamal Charlo is the WBC mandatory. Billy Joe Saunders is taking on Demetrius Andrade, October the 20th for the WBO.
It's a huge statement, and no one was beating Usyk that night. And they just announced also.
This guy says Ryan Martin Taylor is.
Oh, okay. He's talking about other fights still, the Usyk and Bellew. So let's go look at this right here. Right? It's a big deal, and let's talk about it, because a lot of people don't understand my style when it comes to my titles or the way I look at them as headlines. For example, I think the last video I did was Canelo versus Golovkin, something flop question mark, no trilogy question mark, meaning that I'm not saying this is a flop. I'm asking like a question. That's what the question mark is for. I'm going to do it with this video too. So when you hear about pay-per-view numbers, every year when it comes to pay-per-view numbers, you hear it from either this guy, Kevin Iole from Yahoo Sports, or Lance Pugmire from the Los Angeles Times. So every time you hear numbers, whether they are confirmed or denied, he's saying, I couldn't find the tweet, but he's saying that the fight that he got this news from Tom Loeffler, the guy that, this guy right here, his promoter.
Chuck, he's fighting October 30th at the Avalon. That's at the.
I could sign on the Periscope with my phone and see if we can get a question from him to see if, depending on how long he's going to be live before I do this video, what the numbers were. So listen. The reason why I believe these numbers are official is because he says, still no official word from Canelo and Golden Boy pay-per-view number. I am hearing 1 million to perhaps as much as 1.15 million. Pretty good sales in an event, but lower than the first fight. It's lower than the first fight, but it cost more than the first fight. So that with that $10 difference, for example, on pay-per-view, for the first fight, Canelo versus Golovkin was $74.99 on Xfinity Comcast. That's what I have. And you can think that it would be the same here in the States on Fios, on Time Warner Cable, whatever it is, DirecTV, the Dish, all of them were $74.99. If you watched on a stream somewhere, whether it was the Ring TV stream last year or Fight TV stream in the United States, they all were at that price mark. This year it was $84.99. So even though this didn't do the 1.3 that it said the first fight did, it did 1.15, which add them both up, it equals to about the same amount of revenue. So when you factor in ticket sales, the gate for the first fight was around 28 ticket sales, people in the arena, $27 to $28 million or so. You got to imagine that this fight with a sellout with maybe minor inflation would do around that much, 28, 29, maybe 30 million, along with this one. There was a lot more international coverage involved, with BT Sport, box office. So it's safe to say that this second fight was more successful than the first fight, even if it is just by, which would be a small amount in the grand scale of things, maybe $5 to $10 million or so. When you look at Fred Sternberg, he is the publicist for Golovkin, so he's pretty much confirming this because remember, these are magnificent numbers for Golovkin. Maybe people will say they're magnificent numbers, period, in the day of streaming and how easy it is to watch these fights. I paid for it twice. I'll tell you again, I'm kind of upset about that. Not that I paid for it, but that I had to pay for it twice. Long story, but I was hearing that people were watching this fight on YouTube, even though it was a couple of minutes behind. What the fuck? Like, they were watching it live streaming on YouTube. I didn't know it was that deep. Like, I know that it's becoming easier to watch on your phones and all that shit. Like, once it gets, easy to watch on your phones, it's done. It's over. Because to still get, real good illegal streams, you got to be on your computer. But, still, to be able to do those numbers in a declining pay-per-view market, because it is. Because of the illegal streams. Still, that's magnificent. Here it is. He says, Tom told me before the fight he thought Gennady would make in the 40s or 50 millions. He's getting, Golovkin's getting, they both got 5 million flat, and Golovkin's getting 42.5% and Canelo 57.5% of the pay-per-view profits and all that. HBO, confirmed by Bob Arum when he was pissed off that Crawford versus Postol had to be on pay-per-view. HBO gets about between 7 to 9, 10% or so. Let's see if he's talking about anything new. Yeah, let's do this then while we refresh.
You're very feisty today, Dougie.
DAZN versus Facebook as a broadcaster. Who do you like more?
Hey, the zone was great. I
thought they did a great job.
That stream was good yesterday. Very good quality. I think time will tell. I think it depends on the talent. The quality of the broadcast just depends on the technology.
Hey, they both have Todd Grisham.
Grisham's
on DAZN with Sergio
Todd.
Mora during the undercard
I like
bout.
Todd. I think he's a
And
good,
Facebook has
he's a good
Grisham
commentator.
and Mario Lopez. That's a 1-2 punch. I don't know. That's good stuff.
Hey, I thought Grisham and Lopez are really good.
Yes.
They are good. It's a good combination.
So you want a couple questions, Dougie?
Sure. Choco haters
Who's,
are Floyd and Ward
whose
fans.
birthday is
Well,
it
the
today?
Floyd and Ward fans are headed to hell.
Who's undefeated birthday?
You know what
today?
happened was I'm going to let everyone off the hook today on
Yeah.
birthdays.
Oh, no birthdays.
No, I had them and I was going to go back to it and then I forgot.
No, Leo's undefeated.
Oh, this
2
guy
years
says
old.
great, but Ray Leonard isn't built for.
But another thing to talk about, both Canelo and Golovkin are free agents. Depending on what HBO is going to do in regards to signing them back is really going to determine whether the nail is being driven in the coffin in regards to HBO boxing. Because let's face it, people are like, HBO boxing is dying. Look at the quality fights they're putting on. They let go Kovalev, Alvarez, the rematch. People wanted to see that. They're not invested in the sport. Only one episode of HBO 24/7. The signs are there. So Oscar De La Hoya said he is going to shop Canelo around, and it is possible that he could end up on ESPN. ESPN is picking up combat sports heavy. Look what they're doing with Top Rank. Golden Boy has an ESPN deal too, but their deal is on the lower scale of prospects, and comeback fighters, things like that. But their deal could be elevated too. However, it seems as though Bob Arum wants to have some piece of that, and Golden Boy is not going to allow that. They're going to want their own exclusive. They're going to be like, listen, you give us the same amount of attention now that you give in, top rank when it comes to broadcasting Canelo. We want the same team, all that shit, but we don't want Bob Arum to do with none of it. I'm sure they're going to be like that, right? Let's see if we get. I'm going to cut him off soon.
He's still Superman.
Roy carries himself well.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
so you want
Coach, what you got for me?
Did we miss any? What did we have? We had some showbox fights on Friday. I missed those, but
Yeah, I did too.
those,
Yeah.
and then,
Congratulations to Steve Farhood for 40 years in boxing, though. He's a true Hall of Famer. And
We're gonna get back to this. I'm gonna go watch this later, but in the meantime, we gotta end that. Damn, I forgot what I was saying. Damn, I forgot what I was saying. Was it about Golovkin? Was it about Canelo? We already talked about the mandatories with Golovkin. Golovkin's going to take some time off. He's going to spend some time with his family. I don't know if he's still married anymore, or if he still got a kid. No, I'm sure he still got a kid. But, it's been rough on him, man. It's hard, to deal with what he's going through, Don't get me wrong. It is true that he is, the people's champion now. He's lost his. This is the type of stuff that people are going to be arguing about old as shit. In motherfucking barbershops, or when you out with your mates getting some motherfucking fish and chips, or if you down in motherfucking, Mexico doing whatever old Mexican people do, just arguing he didn't go to the body enough. And they're like, you shut up, nigga, I told you. I told you that he wasn't throwing enough punches. Come on, you try to go in there with that jab shit. You know how old motherfuckers is, man? Old motherfuckers be something else. I know. Just imagine, when you with your homies and some shit, y'all probably young now, doing some young people shit. Then when y'all get older, y'all gonna be talking about this fight. How Canelo, was pressing forward and Golovkin was trying to. Man, let it go, man. But they do gotta solve it though. But when is the rematch gonna happen? Golovkin's gonna be a year older. Canelo is still young, going into the full peak of his prime. Golovkin's got to, for a third fight, Golovkin's got to go out on the shield and be like, listen, he got to say it I'm willing to, die in ring. He got to be on that type shit. I'm not saying, obviously, we don't want him to get hurt. But for a third fight, you can't, for a third fight, you can't leave it to the judges. Because if you lose in any way, shape, in a close fight, because people saying the third fight, I'm not going to buy it. There's no appeal because, whatever reason, he's not going to get the decision. And then if it's in Vegas again, which likely will be, he's not going to be able to get the decision. Canelo's going to be a diva and all that about the third fight, yada, 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 yada. Listen, there's no bigger money fight for both of these fighters in a 160-pound division than each other. There's not. There's not. Billy Joe Saunders doesn't generate more money for both of these fighters. Danny Jacobs doesn't. David Lemieux, even if they fight in Canada. They can go over. Canelo can go over to fight Billy Joe Saunders in Wembley. It'd be massive, but I don't know. I don't think he would do that. We'll see, though, man. We'll see, though. Poor guy. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.